welcome back to another planty video. So as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I thought I'd give you guys some little tips that I have found extremely useful while doing my plants on planks. So it's been a year now, roughly. I did my first one around a year ago and they are still going, and I have changed my technique since then, and I've not really spoken about it all that much. Those of you who watch my videos, you would have seen in my videos that I do things a little bit differently compared to how I did them in the previous video. If you do want to watch any of my previous plants on planks videos, they are mostly me putting my plants on planks, showing you, like running through how I'm doing it. I will link them up above or in the description box below. You can check those out if you want to see how I do them before, because I will be referencing back to that also. For those of you who don't know what I'm on about with plants on planks, it's basically the idea of growing your plants up a plank of wood. So as we all know, in the wild, you know, your plants climb. You see them climbing all over trees, up vines, anywhere, everywhere. They can get their little roots into, they will climb and they love it. This in the wild is how they end up maturing, because they climb, they reach up for the light, and then that's when you get more bigger leaves, the leaves maybe with more fenestrations, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean when I say you're maturing a plant. So obviously I moved over to plants on planks because I tried out the whole moss pole thing. At the time it didn't work. I am testing out a new method of moss pole, so I might creep back into that. But like most people, moss poles just weren't working for me. They dried out, the aerial roots would never attach inside of them. It was just a whole thing. I didn't enjoy it and I moved away. I found plants on planks through Plant Life in the Tropics, who is Caitlin. She is the queen of maturing plants and growing plants up things. Honestly, go check out her channel if you haven't yet. So that's where it all started, and I started off by using the technique of putting the wood inside of the actual soil, much like you would for a moss pole. And I started off by kind of trying to have all of the plants, lots of plants on one piece of wood climbing up. I did this with a square pole. I thought it'd be easier at the time, but if you do want to try out this method, I think it would be so much more easier with a round pole. The problem with flat, like square ones inside where you've got lots of vines going, it's hard to keep them attached because they will kind of veer off the edge. You have got to keep reattaching them if they go off the edge, because obviously they're just floating on nothing now. Whereas with a round pole, you can leave it and it will find its own way round. At the time, I was curing the end with wax to try and avoid rot and all that kind of stuff. I have come to realise I really don't like this method. Really don't like this method. It just didn't work for me. All of my poles, I mean, I've still got plants. This epipremnum here is, I didn't even pot this up that long ago. This is how fast I've moved away from it. Is still on a square like piece of wood, and it's got 3 plants growing up. It's working really well for that one. I've only got 3 plants in there, so it's easier to keep up with. It's a fast grower, so I just need to make sure I'm constantly aware of it. But as soon as that plant hits the top of that pole, I'm changing the pole. All of them are unstable. I'm sure I'm putting B-roll over the top. They're all so unstable, and they get like front heavy if you've got them all on the front of your plank. And I just really didn't enjoy it. I think it would be easier if you had a bigger pot, but obviously you start off with smaller ones. If the plank was shorter as well, that would help. It would be less stable, but I always prefer having bigger planks because that plank can then stay on there as long as possible without you having to disturb it and give it a new plank or extend the plank. Also looks better than when you extend it and you're screwing another piece of wood on or however you're going to do it. So those are the main issues I found with that. Obviously, the wood has started to go horrible inside of the pot. Even with curing it with wax, it's just not it. So I moved away from that. The first plan I did with my new method was my Philodendron verrucosum. And this was kind of purely by accident. I didn't want to go out and buy a new plank of wood, and I'd ordered this plant. I knew I wanted it growing up some wood. It's just one vine, and I saw this plank of wood at my mum's house that they were just going to be throwing away, and I used that instead. And from then on, I realised this method was so much easier. So all I do with this method is get a wider, it doesn't even need to be wider, it just needs to be a more flatter plank of wood. If you didn't want it to be wide, it doesn't have to be. And have one or multiple vines growing up that one plank. At the moment, all of my plants that have got these kind of planks with them are just one, but when the plant gets to the top of that plank, I will be chopping it and then propping it and popping it back in the bottom, so then we will have multiple vines on each one eventually. And another thing I do with this kind of plank, I don't put it in the soil because I find it unstable. It's hard to carry when you're trying to, take it to the bath and water it, which might surprise you. You'd think that having it outside of the pot would be harder, but for me, I find it so much easier having it outside the pot. The reason for this being is I actually tape it to the nursery pot. This also means that you can just carry the plant by the plank. If your pot is a really big pot, mine are all quite small as you can see, so if it is a bigger pot, then it might not work, but it's more stable. The plank is taped to the pot, so it's not going anywhere, and I will then have it in a larger cover pot, so the plant and the plank of wood and the nursery pot are taped together and then inside of a pot. When you want to move them around, it makes it so much more stable because that plank is then supported by the cover pot as well. When you have it like this and it's taped to your pot, it will lean back a little bit. Most people, I'm pretty sure, have their plants on planks like this up against the wall like I do. And it's so much better to have it leaning backwards because that plant is going to grow and it's going to get heavy and it will get very front heavy, and like my ones that are square inside of the pot, there is room to move because I've got a very airy soil mix, so it's not a very rigid, stiff, compacted soil, so there is movement in there still. And as the plant is growing, these plants are tipping forward slowly. I am starting to consider having to actually put them on new planks sooner rather than later because I don't want them to get too heavy and completely tip over and obviously snap those vines, because all of that hard work trying to mature them will be out of the window. You'd have to kind of start again. So I would 100% recommend flatter planks. It's so much easier. All I use is some clear tape to attach my plants onto those planks. I also feel like as well it's so much easier to keep track of them and they're less likely to go off the edge when it's on a flatter plank. There's more surface area to them for them to grow up, and it ensures that they all stay on the front. My epipremnum that I've got here, and I've also, I think you can see it, is my my neon pothos. They've got 3 vines in on each side, so you've got to keep track of all 3 sides, and I just really don't enjoy it. That method was okay while it was lasted and while the plants were small, but as they grow, it's just not working out. Okay, I think that is it for this video. I would 100% recommend, like I keep saying, those flat planks. It's so much easier. I should have really paid more attention to the videos I was watching. I know I was mostly watching Caitlin's from Plant Life in the Tropics, and she always used flat pieces of wood, and I didn't really get it at the time. And I kind of thought, why would you not want, like, you know, a square one? You can have them coming from like all sides of the plant. It is easier with a flat plank. 100%. It's easier to have it outside of the pot. It does make it more stable. It stops the wood from rotting. If you take that plank to your pot, it will be so much more stable. It's not going anywhere. You can move it all in one go, all together, and it is honestly so much easier. I would definitely recommend. Okay, thank you all so much for watching. I have not actually addressed my background right now. I have kind of had a little bit of a decoration moment in my office. So bored and fed up of it being like a white blank canvas. I have my generic IKEA like glass shelves with my plants on, and it just wasn't it. And I had these ideas running through my head for like months of what I wanted to do, this really cool like plant wall. It'll be so different, and I finally done it. It's not 100% finished, so I'm not going to kind of do the grand reveal just yet. That will probably be next month. I do need to get a few other bits and bobs for this room to finish it off, but I will definitely be doing a little video of that, showing off my new planty wall. If you follow my planty Instagram, you would have seen I posted it on there. If you want to go check it out, it's Ambient Studio. I am also not 100% sure whether I'm going to post next week. I might see if I can pre-film a video. The reason being is we're getting a little puppy. It's currently Wednesday today. I think this video is going to be going out tomorrow, but it's currently Wednesday. On Sunday, we are picking up our puppy. Obviously, puppies are not easy. There's going to be lots of stuff, and I just wanted to like spend lots of time with him. So we'll see. If I have enough time to film a little extra video and schedule it for next week, I will. If not, I might just do a little mini video introducing our little Shelby to you all, to the Planty fam, because I'm sure you're all going to see him on my videos all the time. Anyway, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I feel like it was a little bit rambly and all over the place, but thank you all so much. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and comment down below. If you want to see more planty content from me, follow my planty Instagram, Ambient Studio, or subscribe to this video to see more content from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you maybe next week for another planting video. Bye guys.